Dun-dun-dun. Oh God. I didn't want to get my cup. Oh my God.
Hey, 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 it's Tuesday. Welcome to the Emotional Entrepreneur Show with Summer and
Jen, thank you for being here.
Jen. You're so sweet. Jen. So, hello, everybody. Hello. We are so excited to be here with all of you today. If you're joining us from LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, welcome, welcome. Make sure to invite your friends because we're going to be talking about, as we always do, a very interesting conversation, but more importantly, we love your input, your wisdom, your insight, learning from each other and growing this community. So invite your friends. Today, we're going to be talking about Minds of Mavericks, strategies for creative entrepreneurship.
Woohoo! And we have Chastity here with us and Mike, emotional success coach. Thanks for being here, guys. Always great to see your names pop up. And those of you on LinkedIn, thank you for being here as well.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. I'm excited. I'm excited to jump right into this. Mike says, hey, 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 good morning, ladies. Guten Morgen.
Oh, yes. We do German too.
And today, well, I have to change it for me. It's Guten Tag because it's the day and not the after. It's not the morning here on the East Coast. So,
right.
Yeah. So you want to jump into this? I'm excited about this topic today because, sitting right next to me, that way is our major creative. She is a total maverick and she love the risk of just being an entrepreneur, jumping into collaborations, getting excited about that, doing something that's new, taking, yes, a risk, but they're calculated risks, right? So
sometimes,
in most cases,
I'll figure it out if it totally blows up in my face.
And we figured it out. So, hey, Chastity, I'm so happy you're here as well. Please invite your friends. We absolutely love having a community that supports one another and that shares. So let's jump into this because really this is about cultivating a mindset of mavericks, really getting creative as entrepreneurs, what that looks like, being a little unconventional, pushing the envelope a little bit, taking those calculated risks. And also just getting excited about what you do. I like to call this passion, purpose, impact, your PPI. So let's do this. Let's talk about this. Jen, what's a maverick, a creative maverick as an entrepreneur?
It's funny. CJ watched Top Gun Maverick this weekend, which is perfect, right timing.
Yeah.
And I remember I didn't want to put, he would have watched the first one, but I was like, no, I'll give you enough information, background information. Okay, Goose is the dad, died, blah, 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 blah. So I love that movie.
Yes.
And the name of Tom Cruise's character Maverick is so perfect. It's just like that person who's not afraid, that person who's just willing to just, I mean, he's extreme in many ways, but it's that person who's not willing to put themselves out there, that person who is fearless, and or if you are afraid, you do it afraid anyways. So, when I think of Maverick, I think of that his character is like the epitome of that definition. And then when it comes to, creativity, and this doesn't just apply to creative or creativity in the sense of like you're an artist, you're a designer, because we all use creativity no matter what kind of work we do. So you're always exercising that creativity, your imagination into all the different things that you do for your work, your coaching, business, consulting, whatever. So when you're combining those two different things, to me, I think of you take those ideas. Sometimes you don't know if they work. Sometimes you're kind of like, I'm not even sure if this is good, but you do it anyway. And being a creative or being a maverick creative entrepreneur is somebody that's going to just go out there and test it. Someone that's just going to go out there and do it anyway. And then you learn from the mistakes. I mean, going back to the movie, if you didn't watch it in the beginning, he loves being dared, for one thing, but it's like he pushes like that limit. He, like Summer said, you push that envelope, right? Envelope, tomato,
right?
Whatever, niche, all these words.
Okay.
So in the beginning of the movie, his program was going to get shut down because it was a jet, right? The jet had to reach a certain speed, and it was called Mach 9, Mach 10, right? So 10 was what he had to go to, otherwise the program was going to get shut down. They hadn't broken 9. And so he's just like, well, he's not here yet. Who was like the captain who was going to shut it down. So he just gets into the jet. Was that?
He was a commander.
Commander. Yeah, someone really, really high up. So he gets into the thing and he's like, I'm just going to figure this out. And so he gets into it. And it's that tense. It's like in the very beginning, right? It's so tense because he's like pushing it. He's like, come on. And then he hits it. And what I love is like even further, he's like, and then even the people at the control center are like, don't do it. Don't do it. And he's like, come on. And he wants to push it to 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, I think it went up to, and then it shuts down. It just totally, and then the next scene, he obviously crashed. He lives though. But it's that pushing of the outer limit, right? It's like going beyond what's comfortable, going beyond what you're used to, going beyond what, like, to the point where like I have no idea how this is going to turn out. But I resonate with that, because to me that's what makes being creative and being a maverick fun. Instead of looking at it with fearfulness, instead of looking at it with apprehension and not going for it, how do you gamify it? I like to gamify everything. How do you gamify it? How do you look at it as like, hey, you know what if it works? And then I look at things like, okay, well, if it doesn't work, who cares? We'll figure it out. There's always a new decision that you can make at that moment. But don't try to figure that out until you reach that moment. Too many of us are stopping ourselves way too early when you start worrying about everything that could go wrong, that you end up doing nothing. So tap into that maverick inner being or that inner maverick. And again, I get it. There's varying degrees of it. Okay? I understand some of us are not so crazy, and some of us like, okay, this is comfortable enough for me, but I want to encourage you to find that comfort zone, but then what can you do a little bit above that? Because that's where the growth happens. That's where the lessons are learned, and that's where the change can really, really happen. And so that's kind of how I look at it, from the start, when we think about maverick and being creative, and how do you combine all these concepts together.
You know what? I absolutely love that example. It is so perfect. Right. Maverick. It's in the title, right?
Totally. I didn't even want to do a part 3 because I'm like, this one was so good. You better not do a 3, and I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, they're looking at doing a 3.
It better not be a disappointment, because it's hard to top, the sequels. Like when they're It's I always feel like, oh, Gary, please don't be bad.
No, and Tom Cruise is so good. He
Right,
is so good. And, just watching him in action and his productions are incredible. And yes, it is entitled Maverick, but if you watch behind the scenes, all the prep, all of the research, all of the practice, everything that goes into it, that too is part of being a creative, right?
right,
It's seeing where all that work, all those layers are going to come together. So he trained all those young folks to be pilots. They sat in those pilot seats, or those what we call Rio seats, the back seats, right? As the pilot was moving. And so it was interesting to see how that all came together for each and every one of those characters, because there's going to part of being a maverick, part of being a creative entrepreneur also means collaboration, right? Like,
right.
what does that collaboration look like? And how do we embrace all these unique ideas? And so as he's producing this, he's also taking it from the different perspectives of these people that are involved, these young people who are like just starting out, who are young mavericks of their own. How is he modeling? What does this look like? How are they all coming together to create this incredible production, right? And so those behind the scenes, that creativity, that maverick mindset, that maverick courage, the way that he challenges himself. And I think in real life, that kind of, when you watch these documentaries on Tom Cruise and you watch his movies and you watch what he does, everything that he does aligns with his values. It aligns with who he is, and being a maverick in real life too.
Oh my
And
goodness, yes.
right? I mean, he's a pilot. He's flown many different types of planes. He does his own
Stunts.
stunts and action shots, right? So I want to read some of these comments. So Mike says, "Good point, Jen. Some of us stop before we even start because of the scenarios that we construct in our heads." And
Yeah.
then Chastity says, "It really takes training your mind to shift from thinking about what could go wrong to what could go right." Oh, I love both of these comments,
Right.
right? What could go right? Even if we just started that, like every day as you get out of bed, what could go right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a great message? So Chastity also says, too often we think we need to be a jack of all trades, but that leads to being a master of none in most cases. Collaboration allows us to utilize the gifts of others and also share our gifts. Absolutely. Know your
Mm-hmm.
resources. Absolutely. But here's the other thing to that, and I'm going to piggyback on what she just said, is guess what you get when you collaborate? You get more information. You learn about new resources. You learn about new tips and tricks and tips. You learn so much. I've learned so much from Jen about branding, design, about, not that I'm perfect by any means at all, but she has taught me many things, right? So to make things look better, or to produce something that aligns with my brand colors. Oh, wow. Yeah. My brand colors and what I do and what that looks like and how everything that I produce aligns with that, and where I can put that, where I don't have to keep searching for those colors or those codes or those, there's just so much to collaboration. So as we collaborate, that also adds to our creative entrepreneurship. So we love these comments and suggestions because, and I loved your example, Jen. There
Yeah.
is so much, the Maverick one,
Oh
because
my gosh, yeah.
I mean, that covers so much, because we could just go off that movie just in general and talk about the risks that we take, even when it means that it could potentially cause, and I'm not saying do this, but I mean, here's a disclaimer. I'm not saying to take these risks unless you feel comfortable and you've researched and you've done your things. But in the movie,
Here's a disclaimer. Do your Tom Cruise moment on your own risk.
that's
Your
right.
own risk.
Okay. So
We are not responsible
No.
for any injuries you may incur mentally or physically or financially.
No.
There's the
Disclaimers all
disclaimer.
over the place. So, I shall say this. We have taken risks in many instances, both apart as well as together. Jen and I have working together. We've taken many, and some worked out better than others. But overall, I will have to say, even when we took those risks, we learned so much. We
Yeah.
learned so much about what to do next, what maybe to curb a little more. We've refined maybe the way that we collaborate. We may do it a little differently. We may consider who we invite to the collaboration, right? So it's doing our research about the person who we're collaborating with. Like all these variables we're taking into consideration, maybe, whereas previously we didn't necessarily do all that. So Chastity says, disclaimer, it's been stated to try things at your own risk.
It's in writing.
It is in writing. Thank you, Chastity, for doing that.
Yeah.
And then she said, just wanted you two to have it in writing. Thank you so much. She's got our backs.
I know. You know, one thing I wanted to add too about the collaboration on so many different levels. What's wonderful about it as well is that you not only does it allow you to be more creative, but you're able to focus on the parts that you're really, really good at, that you love to do, that you're a master at. And then when you get together with other people, everybody can focus on their strengths. And then what's even more exciting, you know, when we Summer and I have done many collaborations, and we have a new one coming up.
Yes.
But it's exciting because you get to lean on each other, right? You get to lean on each other's expertise. And what's exciting for me is, you know, it's somebody else's perspective. Yeah. One of the things I love the most is when somebody brings in their perspective and their experience that I'm not either. It's either because I'm like, you know, 20 years older than that person. And I'm like, oh, this is great to know. This is like insight from a different person's mind and a different person's experience, depending on where they're at in their life and where they work and who are the people they know. But it's exciting to see all the different ideas. And, you know, and then going back to the movie real quick, I love that he even CJ goes, oh, he's old. I said, yeah, but wait till you see when he starts training them. And I want to encourage you, if you ever go like, oh gosh, I'm so old, think of Maverick. I mean, he kicked their asses in the dog fighting. And I was just like, yes, you know, and it was just so funny because these young kids are like hot shots, but he was so experienced. And I loved when he threw the manual into the trash because it was like, okay, did you all read this? And he just threw it away. And then he's like, yeah, so did your enemy. And he took it, even in how he was training, he took it one step further, that it's not just the manual. That's just like what's written, but it's your experience. It's me being in the air for 30 years that is going to teach you the things that are not in that manual. And you need to lean on that with your creativity. You need to lean on your experience, because sometimes you're looking at programs, you're looking at all this stuff on social media, you're looking at programs and things that people are teaching, and that's fine. But sometimes some of us are not trusting ourselves. You're not trusting your own experience. And then you doubt that. And then you don't lean on it. And then you don't go out there and do it. So just remember that that's where the inner Maverick needs to come out, to trust yourself. And remember, I do have experience. It doesn't matter what age I'm at. I'm going to go do it and go out there and do it. And just trust that, because again, this is not about, the opposite of a Maverick is someone that's just going to, like, you know, retreat like a turtle. And so that's not practicing your inner Maverick. So again, if you have not seen that movie, or if you haven't seen it in a while since it came out, watch it again. It is like one of my all-time favorite. I could not believe how excited I was when I saw it in theater. It's
Oh,
crazy.
what a great movie to see in a theater. It's like we have what is it, a 70, 75-inch TV. So we watched it on that, which was
Mhm.
good because it was nice and big, but a theater experience is amazing, right? And
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's definitely something to watch in a theater, but it's like that movie, like even if you know about Tom Cruise, like he's flying some of those planes. He's getting in there and he's playing football with those young kids, right? One of my favorite scenes in the movie. So
Yeah, I'm like, my goodness, can I look that good when I'm at that age?
right?
Exactly. It's
Right. I mean,
impressive. It's
you do.
impressive.
You do. So here's I'm gonna read this.
Yeah.
Chastity says, think of all we can learn from different generations as well. The older generation can learn from the younger generation and vice versa.
Right.
Absolutely. Such great point. Such a great point. And then Mike says, good point, Jen. Learning from someone's years of experience. Absolutely. But yet we have that cross generational experience, right? That cross generational learning. Mike says, I got to go watch them both. Haven't seen Top Gun. What?
Mike, blasphemous. Okay, all right. You know what? I'm gonna jump to my nugget for you too. You too need to watch the movie, both of them.
Oh, it's so good. What's going on here? That movie came out
Go
in
watch part
19
one first. Watch part one first. There's your homework. There's my nugget. We're done. Watch part one, and then watch part two.
It's so good. It's got it all. It's got it all. It's got family. It's got camaraderie. It's got, being the Maverick. It's got pushing that envelope. It has got inspiration. It is emotional. And we talk about emotional agility, right? I talk about this all the time.
So
Why?
many lessons in the movie.
So many lessons.
Well produced.
Absolutely. So Jessie says we've been given homework assignments. That's right.
You
Am I
can.
banned from the channel?
No, you have to come back and give us a movie report.
That's right. We might have to call Mike up to the stage so like we get a
Both
movie report. Oh my goodness. So I cannot believe you haven't after all these years. When did Top Gun come out? 1988.
That's like saying I never saw Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Right?
Although I know people who haven't.
Wow. Yeah. Any hoozle. Okay. So here's what I also want to add to this is resilience. Stay resilient. Entrepreneurship has its ups and downs. And even if we use the movie Maverick, we use the movie Top Gun, there was loss. There was setbacks, or what we might have considered a setback, right? But I actually called them just missteps. So it might have moved us left or right or sideways, but that's all information that we can bring forward towards our next steps. So I never consider it a mistake or a failure. It may not have rolled out as we quite envisioned it, but what we can take away from it is the knowledge, the wisdom, the insight, the information to apply to our next steps. And that's what makes us better. That's what makes us resilient. That's what helps us get back up. And also that collaboration and having those people with you in that experience helps you get back up too. It's somebody that you can tap into. It's your community that says, it's okay. Here's maybe another idea. Or, hey, get back up. Try again. Try it in a different way. So my question to you is, let me see what's going on here. The Wizard of Oz is my favorite movie. See, Chastity has seen that. And Mike says, you have never seen The Wizard of Oz yet?
No, I haven't. No, I know somebody who has it. And I'm like, and this person was 50. And I'm like, okay, where have you been? You live in Los Angeles. And it's like, he was at that one point in time on Channel 5, like every year.
Yeah.
How did you miss that? Like,
Channel 5.
it was like Channel 5. You got to see Wizard of Oz every year.
But here's the thing about that, Jen. I'm going to tap into this. Way back when we had Channel 5 and we had Channel 46 and we had Channel 8, it came on once a year. So when you missed it, you missed it.
You had multiple chances. That's like missing the 10 Commandments every Easter season. Come on.
That's right. That's right.
Come
So
on. Charleston
Angela has
Heston. Come
joined us.
on.
Hello, Angela. So we have covered so much ground here. I don't even know what time. Okay, it's 1:26. So there's that resiliency component, right? I want to ask you, all that who are out there with us today, I know we're having a lot of fun here, which the show is about having fun. It's about sharing information. It's about, levity, having a good time, but also moving each other forward, moving that dial, sharing that those experiences, sharing the movie Maverick, obviously, for those who haven't watched it. Oh, and by the way, Tom Cruise, we keep mentioning your movie Maverick, hashtag Maverick. Okay. So what I would say is, how many, and I read this in a post today, and I thought it was a great question, something to reflect on. How many times a day or a week do you take time to actually get into a creative space? To think creatively, to culminate or cultivate that creative insight, that creative space for yourself. I know that as an example, every morning when I take a shower, I swear that's like my creative space. I don't know. It's because I'm really relaxed, and all of a sudden, all these creative thoughts start coming to me, right? And it's like during the day, yes, they also do. But when I'm in the shower and I'm just like washing my hair and I'm just like kind of zoning out, that's when all these ideas, all these creative thoughts start coming to me. Where's your creative space? How many times a week or a day do you take time to be in that space? To breathe in your creativity, so to speak. So let me see what's going on here. So Mike says, I will put Top Gun and Maverick on my to-do list. Chastity says, I tried to miss the 10 Commandments. I tried to miss the 10 Commandments. My dad forced me to watch it with him once, and I haven't seen it since, so long ago. And Chastity says, my creative thoughts come at night when I'm trying to wind down for bed. My brain starts buzzing, laugh out loud. So she takes notes and on my notes app. And I love that. Yeah, that's something that I love to do is use my phone. What is your resource to start taking these notes, to start really making a list of some of these creative ideas or thoughts that you're having? So remember, also consider, as I talk about your PPI, your purpose, your passion, your impact. What is your passion? Are you afraid to go for your passion? And then be curious. Understand maybe why you're fearful. What feeds into that fear? Is it because you want a paycheck every 2 weeks on the dot, da 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 da, so you're not going to start cultivating that creativity or those new ideas? Well, what about a side gig? What about rethinking how you do things? So I think that there's a lot of that goes into being a maverick, into being creative as an entrepreneur, into really putting these things into, I wouldn't say into practice necessarily, but really cultivating, and how you're cultivating these ideas, your thoughts, your mindset around creativity, and kind of pushing that envelope a little bit more where you're getting out of your comfort zone. I'll give you an example. So I really don't like to speak in front of people. You'd be amazed. I'm quite shy. And I like more fireside chats when I'm sitting with somebody like this. Like Jen and I are going back and forth and we're reading the comments. I like that. But when I have to be like that focal point and I'm presenting, which I have to do today at 3:00, I have to push that envelope for myself. It's like, okay, get out there, do it. You feel uncomfortable. You've got the knowledge, you've got the wisdom, you've practiced this stuff, you've studied this stuff, you've got the research behind it. Like, just get out there. Why you're so nervous? So it's being courageous. It's trying something different. So Chastity says, prayer for you, my friend. You got this. Thank you so much. So it's get out there, be courageous. What's your nugget, Jen? We've covered so much today.
Here's the homework. These two need to watch the movies.
Anybody who's out there who has not watched Tom Cruise's Maverick, Watch it. It's a
Top
must.
Gun from 1980. I don't know. And then part 2, Maverick. So that's
Yes.
that's
When
the nugget.
did
Watch
Top
that.
Gun come out, Jen?
Oh, I don't know. Let me look it
Like
up.
86,
Yeah,
87, something
I'm
like
gonna look it
that.
up.
So, and it was fun.
While you explain your nugget, I'm gonna tell you guys when it came out.
And it was so funny because I lived in San Diego at the time that they were filming that, and I actually
19?
worked. No, not when they were filming that, but I actually worked on the base where they filmed it. So over at Miramar. So I got to pass those volleyball courts, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm
I
on the
was
Top
in
Gun base."
heaven.
Because that was the Top Gun base where they actually filmed the first one and where the pilots came out of, right? So they've now moved it, I think, to Arizona, but anyway, or maybe New Mexico,
Yep,
something
I'm
like
gonna
that.
check for homework.
Yes,
They
but
both have a report due. Oh, you're right. It's 1986. Ding 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 ding. You're
86.
right.
Yeah, 86. So it's been a long time.
May 16 it was released. May 16, 1986.
So I want you, my nugget is today is a little bit of homework, whether it's watching Maverick or it's doing something that feels a little uncomfortable, where you're pushing the edge a little bit, where you're taking a little bit of a risk, where you feel uncomfortable about doing it, but you're kind of, you're really, what's the word that I'm looking for? You're really like calling on that maverick energy. You're really tapping into that energy and you're putting it out there to try something new or different that you've wanted to really try for a while, but haven't. What did Chastity say?
I
She said,
think I
I
should
think
get a break when it comes to the first one. I wasn't born yet. But
you
you
know
were
what?
forced to watch the 10 Commandments, but trust me, none of us was born yet.
You know what, Jen? I
None of
may
us
have.
was born when
I,
Moses was around.
what's that? Oh no! Oh no! Okay, so this has been so much fun. Oh my goodness, we are goofy bunch today. So thank you everybody for the amazing laughs, for the good time, for the wisdom, for the information, the shared information, for the community building. We really appreciate you being here with us. You know how we do this. We dance it in, we dance it out. And guess what? We'll be back here next Tuesday to dance it in. And you know what, Mike? We want to hear from you about Maverick. And he says, 10 Commandments, Worth Heston. Absolutely. My favorite biblical movie. I can
I love
quote.
it too.
It is really good.
I like the
Charlton
locust
Heston,
scene.
amazing. You ready to dance this out?
Let's go. I'm already dancing.
Thank you, everybody. Mwah. All right, here we go.
Thanks, guys, for being here. So fun.
Yeah, so much fun. Woo!
Ooh, I need to watch that.
Bye, everyone. Have a great week. Mwah.